That's right. We wrote the book on the police state. The InfoWar has been about exposing the global move to turn police forces into UN-controlled, gun-confiscating, social worker minions of the system. And that's now where we live. That's now the place we are at in this society. That is now the place that we stand. The final ingredient is getting moron ne'er-do-wells to start talking about how they want to shoot and kill police, to start a war against the police that will finalize their move to the dark side, being a paramilitary suppression force against the American people. And it's all completely scripted by the social engineers in London, in The Hague in the Netherlands, in New York and D.C. and Colorado Springs and Los Angeles. It's all a big joke. It's all been written about in books. It's all been put out by the Rand Corporation. It's all public. The global government, the forced inoculations, the anthropogenic diseases, the binary weapons. The social engineers sitting back coldly as if we were nothing but amoebas in a petri dish manipulating our world. To paraphrase the opening passages of War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells, who was one of them, and wrote nonfiction books admitting it, that War of the Worlds is an allegory of what the establishment sees us as and what they're doing to us. He and Bertrand Russell both proposed in different times using atomic bombs to reduce the world population if need be. And how a nuclear war might actually be a good thing. That's why they call them liberals. If you get awards from Hitler and give awards to Hitler, love letters, you are hailed as one of the greatest women to ever live and walk the earth. If you're a Grand Dragon, you're hailed by the Black Caucus. If you're not, you're attacked by the Black Caucus. That's just the way it works. Talking about Margaret Sanger and, of course, Senator Byrd, the late senator. Yeah, a woman sues city of Tulsa for cutting down her edible garden. Code police, 6 things that surprisingly may be banned in your front yard or backyard. I just mentioned those older articles because here's the AP, where all over the country they're trying to ban people exchanging seeds from plants that they've grown. Can't do that without a special license. Got to end that ancient human activity that started civilization of seed sharing. Can't make that up, huh? Boy, we're such a free country, aren't we? But don't worry, Pope Francis, this is in the London Guardian, Pope Francis' edict. I love his edict. Like Obama has edicts now. Forget Congress on carbon taxes or open borders or grabbing our guns or funding Al-Qaeda or Obamacare. Pope Francis' edict. Yeah, Obama's changed Obamacare over 200 times without law, but it's okay because, well, it's an edict. Pope Francis' edict that he can keep to himself, I guess, because I'm not going to follow it, on climate change will anger deniers. See, we're Holocaust deniers, folks. But it is religious, so it's fitting that one of the biggest religious leaders in the world, if not the biggest, should be telling us we shouldn't be deniers. It's like denying Christ, sacrilege, or they have a word for it, heresy. In fact, in England, they've called for Lord Monckton's arrest. They've talked about my arrest in major newspapers for being a denier, and they even call it heresy. Maybe after I'm tortured in a dungeon, maybe then, if there's an inquisition, maybe I will then behave myself and admit Al Gore is my sacrament. When we break bread, we think about him, and this wine is Al Gore's blood, and this this bread is his body, as he lives in giant mansions, and Obama says you can't have a car or air conditioning, but he can. It's how they make it. We live in the palace and you're poor and it's trendy. How's that sound? He's been called the Super Pope. Yeah, the establishment has been viciously attacking the Catholic Church. For whatever reason, there's been an open war on it, to infiltrate it, to liberalize it, to do all these things. You can say what you want about its history. It's certainly checkered. But now, we have the Jesuit Pope. And I'm no Catholic, but I've read a lot of history. You're not supposed to have anybody in the Society of Jesus in a high-level position in the Catholic Church. It was a big deal 100 years ago when they started having cardinals that were Jesuits. There's the folks like Ray McGovern, formerly with the CIA, that exposes the tyranny is super accurate. He's a Jesuit, nice guy, I respect him. But, I mean, you're not supposed to have Jesuits running the Catholic Church, are you? I mean, I'm just giving you the edicts of all the past popes. But now you have the new edict of the Jesuit Pope that the media says is the most wonderful person in the world because he goes and hugs people that are sick and doesn't have a bunch of security when he randomly shows up out of the blue in a crowd where they know he's safe. He's pulling stunts. And I don't hate Pope Francis, but I do hate carbon taxes that are a giant stinking fraud. Pope Francis has called for restricting civilian ownership of guns, another horrible tyranny. He's called for ecumenical merging of religions. Boy, that doesn't sound too good. And it's got a lot of conservative Catholics upset. Pope Francis's edict on climate change will anger deniers and U.S. churches. The pontiff hopes to inspire action at next year's UN meeting in Paris in December after visits the Philippines and New York. Yeah, third world, let us put giant taxes on you. Right at double. It's almost double. It came out in the Copenhagen secret treaty, and they said, no, that's our treaty. Remember 5 years ago. Right at double. 1 point shy of double. And then huge taxes on us to stop development except for the elites that are exempt. And will kill 1 billion people, according to Lord Monckton, who's a Catholic. He's the guy fighting it. And we ought to get Lord Monckton on about this and get his view on them making it religious to pay Gore and Blood, the company in London, and the Rothschild exchange trillions of dollars a year if they get this through. And the surveillance of all human activity to make sure you're complying. Europe already moving to ban, well, actually, they've done it in some areas, single-family dwellings, the new construction of them, and having wood stoves, fireplaces, or space heaters. Don't believe me? Just type that in. He has been called the Super Pope, and it would be hard to deny that Pope Francis has had a good December. Oh, see, it's just a rock star. Cited by President Obama as a key player in thwarting relations between the U.S. and thawing relations between the U.S. and Cuba. Oh, he was cited by Obama. That's incredibly unpopular and hated and a total criminal fraud. Ooh, it's like being cited by Jeffrey Dahmer. The Argentinian pontiff followed that by lectures his cardinals on the need to clean up Vatican politics. Oh, yes, he'll now persecute who he wants for a full Jesuit takeover. But can Francis achieve a feat that has so far eluded secular powers and inspire decisive action on climate change, which means giant taxes to the Rothschilds? It looks as if he will give it a go. In 2015, the Pope will issue a lengthy message on the subject of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics and give an address to the UN General Assembly and call a summit of the world's main religions to call for the adoption of the UN climate agenda. And the article goes on. Isn't that just special? Isn't that just cutesy-tootsy? I want to take some calls just at the end of this hour, a little bit at the next hour before our guest joins us, from Catholics specifically. What do you think about this? I mean, this is basically endorsing abortion because it will cause starvation of tens of millions a year conservatively. This will shut down development worldwide. It's implying development is bad and that what plants breathe is bad, carbon dioxide that's at a very low level. It's a giant global government total fraud, the takeover plan by the Green Police. It is a nightmare. It is a nightmare death sentence to the third world. We already see Catholic churches calling for open borders and world government and gun control. So are the Protestant ones. I mean, this is state-run. This is state-run religion. And it's frightening. And it shows the world government agenda is showing its hand as left, right, and center they come out. Oh, boy, the pontiff was endorsed by Mr. Abortion, Obama. Oh, my goodness, he's a rock star. Here's the toll-free number to join us, 800-259-9231. It's only got a little bit of time. I want to hear from Catholics. You think I'm wrong about this? Or, I mean, are you all now going to get rid of your car, your television, and your heat in the winter? Because most of it's from coal power. I wonder if the pontiff is going to go green. Oh, they probably buy a few Volt cars as a knick-knack, as a token. I wonder what the carbon footprint is of Vatican City that's exempt from taxation and won't even pay its power bill to Italy. Just above the law, do whatever you want. 800-259-9231. Before we go any further, you're supposed to take oxy powder from InfoWarsLife.com at night, 5 pills. Time-release oxygen for the upper and lower intestine. You do about once a month for 6-7 days. I like to take a few during the day and then a few at night. Incredible results. I've lost a ton of weight, flushed out my guts. It's a totally different approach to some of the harsh herbs and things that'll flush you out as well, but in my experience, not as good. It's totally natural. It's only time-released oxygen. It's proprietary. InfoWarsLife.com. You should all not procrastinate and just take my word for it. You've heard the rave reviews, and do this in the new year. Order it. We'll get it out to you this week. And in the new year resolution, it's so easy. You can still eat what you were eating, drink what you were drinking, exercise like you were exercising, and everyone that takes it, it just expands safely, comfortably in the upper and lower intestine, and all that stuff that even fasting won't get out or drinking buckets of water won't get out, it will flush it out. It is dramatic. And 70+% of your immune system's in your gut during this winter season. This, in my view, is an absolute, plus your purchase, it's at the lowest price you can find anywhere, makes the whole broadcast and everything possible. InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. 888-253-3139. Get your X2, your Super Male Vitality, Colloidal Silver, all of it. InfoWarsLife.com or InfoWarsStore.com. Okay, and again, I want to thank you all for your support. We couldn't do any of it. Secret 12, the super vitamin B12 is back in. InfoWarsLife.com. I want to thank you all. We couldn't do any of this without your support. Let's go ahead and go to Dr. Kelly in California. What's your take on the Pope endorsing the Rothschild world government carbon tax UN plan?
Well, I think they should go back to letting the Pope ski. And back in the day, he would be gone, and the ladies couldn't find him, and he'd be out on the slopes getting some exercise and having a good old time. And it's
come now.
totally...
Popes have never had girlfriends throughout history, even though it's on record hundreds of times.
And it's interesting how the Catholic school truly is the prisoner training with the uniforms and the segregation and all of the, all of the tyranny that they promote there.
Well, look, I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. One Catholic church will be totally communist, one will be conservative. I mean, I think it's diversified like any big organization, but undoubtedly the Catholic Church has been behind the EU. The Catholic Church is now behind gun control moves in the U.S. and open borders, endorsing it and housing the illegals. It is a foreign government operating inside the United States now openly with the globalist agenda. But the problem is the Protestant churches are like endorsing Bill Gates. I mean, look, the Catholic Church has been one of the main fighters of abortion worldwide. So that's a very positive. You judge a tree by its fruits. There are some positive fruits. I think this really signals, notice the media is hailing this Pope as the best guy since sliced bread when they usually attack the other popes. I mean, I think you can say what you want about the Catholic Church. I'm not here to cause division. Got a lot of friends that are Catholics, great people. There's big changes going on at the Catholic Church and everywhere else right now, and they ain't good. Gun control, open borders, and carbon taxes ain't good. There is no doubt that whether it's the British Royal Combine, the Dutch Royal Combine, the Vatican City operation, Israel, the United States, the Pentagon, NATO, they're all working in conjunction to establish a planetary government under which human life is completely devalued, the family is broken up, and hell on earth is deployed. Now, the Vatican, on average, has been pretty pro-life and pro-family, and I've said that's something positive. And you've seen globalist attempts to take it over and turn it into whatever they wanted. You could debate what the Vatican was before, but there's been an attempt to take it over. It appears that's now been done. Even though the Catholic Church at some of the local levels is endorsing abortion, but not at the international level, tacitly by supporting this UN carbon tax agenda, that's what's happening. And it's got to be addressed and dealt with. Just like I get disgusted and read out the big Protestant churches that are involved in open borders and gun control. I mean, you know, religion, when it becomes state-run or state-merged, is very, very dangerous. It's why we have a First Amendment in this country saying Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. But then what do you do when foreign-based governmental churches, so powerful and so old, it's a government of itself, says your borders will be open. We'll bring people in and legalize them. We will push carbon taxes. We will go to the UN and try to enforce it over you. It's over the top. Keith in Indiana, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention the idea that I'm Roman Catholic, and I've had a lot of discussions with people about the Pope, and a lot of people think that his function is to introduce these subjects to the congregation, that even if they don't go through, he's like this guy who's going to lay the foundation for the next Pope. He's already 80 years old, but he can bring up all these subjects and put them out there and say, we need to do this, and then you have it given to you, and you can sit on it for a while. Some politicians do the same thing. They prepare the public for what's coming. And a lot of people think that's what his job is to prepare.
Well, look, I have nothing against Catholics. Everybody knows that, and I don't try to get into this, but he's making it political. And look, the last Pope had to step down under scandal. Guaranteed the Catholic Church is being blackmailed. So either do you agree with that or disagree with that, and then what do you do about something like that?
I completely agree with you, and I think they are being blackmailed, and one of the reasons is that they're being blackmailed through the international banking system. They've got all kinds of terrible banking problems and he was from South America, and a lot of them came out of that section because they were apparently laundering drug money through the Vatican Bank, people have said. But anyway, you're right. They bring blackmail, and what you do about it is the only answer you have is you have to attempt to do a grassroots move just like you talk about all the time. It's the individual people in their parishes who have to think they have some say in what happens. But if they wash their hands of it, like a Pontius Pilate move, and don't do anything, then the top will just get to do what they want, and they'll just go along. And I think I don't really know how else they're going to do it. The problem is there's so few priests, a lot of the people don't have anybody to talk to anymore.
Well, if you go back on record 70, 80 years ago with the World Council of Churches and others, the Rockefellers publicly bragged that not just the Catholics, but the other seminaries, they were infiltrating with communists and socialists. That's what Margaret Sanger said they would do to take it over. And so you've got a bunch of people that aren't even Christians there as ministers, as priests, you name it. And I mean, that's come out. That's on record. So we have to recognize that that's a big part of this as well. Globalist social engineers are not just targeting us with propaganda. They are manipulating our genetics. We are being targeted at every level by estrogen mimickers that lower our testosterone and other hormones and natural compounds that the body needs. After consulting top doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, and others, we have developed what I believe is the ultimate non-GMO organic super male vitality formula sourced from powerful organic herbs and then concentrated for maximum potency. Super Male Vitality was developed to activate your body's own natural processes instead of using synthetic chemicals. Super Male Vitality by InfoWars Life is so powerful that I only take half the recommended dose. For a limited time, we are offering 15% off Super Male Vitality at InfoWarsLife.com to introduce you to this powerful supplement. Visit InfoWarsLife.com today to secure your Super Male Vitality. InfoWarsLife.com.